That is the end of the news, so let's move it on now to brown rice eco cars.
The thing is, though, that Tesla say it is pretty nippy. So what I've done is lined it up alongside a normal petrol-powered Elise, and now we shall see which is the fastest in a drag race.
Jeremy Clarkson got sued after his review of a Tesla on Top Gear went disastrously wrong. Top Gear, famous for its love of loud, fast cars, suddenly found itself at the center of drama as electric vehicles began to dominate. What happens when the world of old-school muscle meets futuristic innovation? Let us dive into this explosive confrontation and uncover what ignited this intense legal battle. Top Gear's test of Tesla's innovation. His feelings about electric cars were a mix of doubt and interest. Just like the internet had evolved from slow dial-up to fast broadband, the car industry was also moving forward. Electric cars were no longer just ideas for the future, they were starting to show up on the streets. A perfect example of this was Tesla, led by Elon Musk. Even though Tesla faced financial problems, Musk pushed ahead, coming up with new ways to improve EV technology. As he watched the latest electric car model glide past his window, a thought lingered in his mind. But Tesla's journey wasn't easy. When they launched the Tesla Roadster in 2008, they aimed to change how people saw electric cars. The Roadster's appearance on Top Gear was a big moment. Known for his tough reviews, Clarkson put the Roadster through a set of tests, including a race against the Lotus Elise, a car that had a big influence on the Roadster's design. This wasn't just about speed, it was about showing if electric cars could really compete with traditional gas-powered ones. However, this wasn't the hardest challenge. Over time, he shared his concerns about electric vehicles, doubting their environmental benefits and practicality. He argued that even though EVs don't emit gases themselves, the electricity they use often comes from coal-powered plants, raising questions about their overall impact on the planet. He also had worries about the safety of the batteries and the environmental costs of making electric cars. As electric vehicles became more common, his thoughts mirrored a larger conversation about where transportation was headed. There was a balance between excitement for new technology and a careful look at the downsides. This back and forth between fans of traditional cars and those supporting EVs became an important part of the changing car world, with Top Gear right in the middle of it. The show's explorations and reviews helped shape how people viewed this fast-growing part of the auto industry. In an unexpected twist, the Lotus was completely outdone, leaving him amazed by Tesla's abilities. He was especially impressed by the car's power, which seemed surprising for something run by a battery no bigger than a watermelon. He also liked the car's simplicity, with only one moving part. Tesla claimed that the car could still keep a range of 200 miles, even when driven hard, and he pointed that out as well. When he took the Tesla for a test drive on the Top Gear track, he found a few weaknesses in the Roadster, particularly when it came to handling curves. However, the car showed impressive speed when driving in straight lines. During his drive, a dramatic moment was added to the show, making it seem like the Tesla's battery died after just 55 miles. As a result, the car had to be pushed into a hangar by the Top Gear team. While parked, he talked about how long it takes to recharge the car from a normal outlet, which could take up to 16 hours. He also raised concerns about where the electricity comes from, noting that much of it still comes from nuclear power. On top of that, he criticized the high price of the car, which was $91,000, 3 times more expensive than the Lotus at that time. More car troubles were just around the corner. The Tesla Roadster Showdown. But the trouble didn't stop there. Another test was run with a second Tesla Roadster, and sadly, it overheated early in the trial. To make things worse, the first Tesla that was recharged after its battery issue started having brake problems. Later, it was explained that the problem was just a broken brake, but it still made him question if the car was really ready for everyday use. Tesla didn't stay quiet after the show aired. A spokesperson, Rachel Conrad, stepped in to clear things up. She explained that the cars were never in the bad shape the show made it seem. The batteries, she said, never dropped below 20%, and the long recharge times mentioned on the show were wrong. Under normal conditions, the car could be fully charged in just 3.5 hours. She also mentioned the brake issue, saying it was just a minor fuse problem that was quickly fixed, and the car was up and running again in a few minutes. But this wasn't the end of the story. Tesla and the show continued to disagree for years over how the car was shown on TV, marking a long-running debate over the real performance of the electric car. Tesla took the BBC to court, accusing them of making false claims. Tesla said that one particular episode of the show caused them to lose 200 sales of their Roadster, which they claimed cost them around $171,000. They also believed the episode made their investors nervous and led to negative comments on YouTube. Tesla even thought that fewer people in the UK pre-ordered their new Model S sedan because of the harsh review. But here's the tricky part. The judge, Lord Justice Moorbrick, wasn't fully convinced by these claims. After watching the one-hour Top Gear episode several times, he questioned whether the show had as much influence on car enthusiasts as Tesla suggested. The court decided that no reasonable viewer would expect the car's performance on a racetrack to be the same as driving it on public roads. They also pointed out that the issues shown in the episode were part of a script. While Top Gear is known for its love of cars, it's still mostly about entertainment. After the court's decision, there was no immediate reaction from Jeremy Clarkson, as he was heading to Australia for a live Top Gear show. However, Andy Willman, Top Gear's executive producer, felt relieved. He was glad the court agreed with the earlier ruling and dismissed the case. He even joked about feeling sorry for the judges who had to watch so much of the show. But this wasn't the end of the story. After both the original case and the appeal were dismissed in 2013, Elon Musk was interviewed on Newsnight. When asked about his thoughts on the whole Top Gear incident, Musk admitted the experience was unexpected. However, he made it clear that he was still a fan of the BBC and didn't blame the whole network for what happened on the show. The discovery that Top Gear aired on the BBC led to mixed feelings about the show. Although primarily designed for entertainment, some viewers perceived it as lacking in factual accuracy. The blend of humor and critique often delivered by the show's host was recognized as a key aspect of its appeal, even though not all the opinions shared were universally accepted. Admittedly, many episodes provided considerable enjoyment, despite certain reservations about the content. The host's evident disdain for electric vehicles, coupled with a seemingly critical view of American cars and culture, posed a peculiar challenge, especially for American companies focused on electric automotive technology. This situation underscored a nuanced relationship with the show, balancing the entertaining aspects against the critical perspectives presented by the host. The court case was over, but the story was taking a new turn. The electric giant's legal showdown. This isn't seen as an effort to sway his opinion. It's generally accepted that his views are firmly entrenched. 2 years following a significant court ruling, perspectives on the matter began to shift. An individual on the internet highlighted that when Tesla initiated legal action over a car review, many believed it was due to the joke that the Roadster couldn't complete a lap without its battery failing. However, upon closer examination, the review appeared quite balanced and genuinely reflective of the car's performance, wrapped in a layer of typical British wit. Observers of the show could discern that the program wasn't solely about automobiles. The hosts frequently used humor to engage their audience, a practice that had been part of the show's charm for over 2 decades. During these early years, Tesla was striving to establish its brand, and a negative critique from the world's leading car show in 2017 was impactful. 4 years after the legal dispute, during a media event for the Grand Tour, Jeremy was queried about Tesla once more. He recounted how Elon Musk had sued him following his initial review of a Tesla vehicle, a lawsuit Musk ultimately lost, including on appeal. Jeremy described the legal process as fair. The feedback regarding the original Tesla was tough, but fair. It had not met the expected standards at the time. Now, with the arrival of the Tesla Model X, the focus shifts to this newer edition in a series of detailed reviews. The Tesla Model X distinguishes itself in several ways, despite not being flawless in every aspect. It represents a significant achievement and changes the perspective on car ownership. The car comes equipped with numerous features that are bound to delight anyone, regardless of age. These features evoke a sense of youth and excitement, reminiscent of the feelings one might experience during childhood. Driving the Tesla Model X was an enjoyable experience, reinforcing the belief that electric vehicles have a positive role to play in the future of transportation. On February 9th, 2018, during the second season of the Grand Tour, we took another look at a Tesla, this time the Model X. The episode showed off the car's sleek design, its practical features, and its ability to drive itself. We also talked about how it handled and how fast it was. Even though it had many strengths, like any review, we had to point out where it could be better. Jeremy had some strong opinions about Tesla, and he didn't hold back on cracking jokes, even with 6 lawyers in the car. He had specific worries about the car's range on a single charge, and mentioned the issue of electric vehicle batteries catching fire. But all of this was part of the fun on his lighthearted car review show. A year later, Elon Musk appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast to talk about that famous Top Gear episode. Elon, who was actually a fan of Top Gear, felt let down by how his car was shown to break down, just for the sake of entertainment. The truth was, the car was working perfectly fine, but they thought it would be funny to show otherwise. Elon didn't think it was fair and pointed out how dishonest that episode had been. But that wasn't the worst part. Elon also mentioned that recently, Top Gear has changed its tune and become more supportive of Tesla. He was grateful for this change and seemed happy that things were improving between the show and his company. Now, new challenges and opportunities were about to unfold. The scripted controversy. James May, one of the Top Gear hosts, has even shown real admiration for Tesla. This has helped ease the tension from the past and created a more positive relationship moving forward. Once upon a time, Tesla was just a small company in the huge car industry, barely noticed next to the big names that had been around for years. Then, a popular TV show called Top Gear reached out to Tesla, showing interest in testing one of their cars. This was a big deal for Tesla, as it was a chance to show off what they could do on a huge platform. With only a few cars available at the time, Tesla sent one over, hoping the test would be fair. When one of Tesla's engineers delivered the car to the set of Top Gear, something unexpected happened. He saw a script lying on a table, and in it there was a scene where the car was supposed to break down. This was strange because the script was written before they had even tested the car. It made Tesla wonder if the show had already made up its mind about how the car would perform. This felt like a direct hit to Tesla's reputation. For a show as big as Top Gear, which so many car lovers and potential customers trusted, a fake breakdown could be really damaging. If viewers believed the car wasn't reliable, it could hurt Tesla's business in a big way. What made things worse was Jeremy Clarkson, one of the hosts, who had a funny and charming way of delivering information. People loved watching him, and his opinions seemed trustworthy. This mix of entertainment and reviews was what made the show so popular, which made the potential damage from the episode even greater. But that wasn't even the worst part. Tesla was still a young company, trying to make its way, and being shown in a bad light like this could have long-lasting effects. Imagine if they could pull it off without misrepresenting how the car actually performed. The car was in great shape, but they acted like it had serious issues. The script they followed was completely over the top. When Guy got the car, he was given a script filled with fake problems, like the car running out of charge or the brakes failing. This all happened right after we handed over the keys, and we were stunned. We asked them why they were making up these issues, and they said it wasn't supposed to be real. But that didn't make it any less surprising. In the days that followed, especially after Guy appeared on Joe Rogan's show, people started talking about Jeremy's relationship with Joe. Despite all the rumors, Joe actually likes Jeremy, and they both have a mutual friend in Elon Musk. But things between Jeremy and Elon took a turn for the worse and played out on Twitter. That same year, during an interview, Jeremy didn't hold back. He called Elon an idiot and even hinted at a time they almost got into a fight. He also made a joke about Elon's kids' unusual names, saying names like John or Jane would be easier. Jeremy Clarkson and Elon Musk haven't always gotten along. Their issues started when Clarkson reviewed a Tesla on his show Top Gear and made it clear he wasn't impressed. He criticized the car harshly, calling it a disappointment. In response, Musk didn't stay quiet. He fired back, calling Clarkson odd and disrespectful on social media. The situation got worse when Clarkson said a Tesla didn't perform well during a test drive, which led to Tesla suing Top Gear for defamation. However, Tesla lost the case. A surprising moment started to mend old wounds, the unexpected brew that mended a rivalry. As time went on, their feud started to cool down, especially by the year 2024. The surprising moment that helped break the ice? Clarkson's beer Hawkstone, which he makes with crops from his farm in Oxfordshire. Musk, who usually isn't a fan of beer, gave it a try and was pleasantly surprised. He even shared on social media that even though he doesn't typically like beer, he enjoyed Clarkson's brew. Clarkson didn't let that go unnoticed. He publicly thanked Musk for the compliment on his beer. It was a small but important moment, showing that their old disagreements might finally be behind them. Their interactions shifted from being harsh to more playful and friendly. But it wasn't just about beer. It was a sign that respect was starting to replace years of tension. At the same time, it's hard to say Top Gear has always been against electric cars, especially Tesla. After all, they created their own electric car called Jeff, which was quite an impressive engineering feat. They've also supported other electric models over the years, like the G-Wiz and Prius. About 10 years later, some people thought that Tesla's design for the Cybertruck looked a lot like Top Gear's Jeff and believed the original design should get some credit. But this wasn't the only surprise. These debates, even with the controversies, brought a lot of attention to the growth and advancements in electric car technology. James May, in a film about Tesla, shared his belief that cars powered by batteries might not last long in the market. Even though he has owned several electric cars and currently drives a Tesla Model S 100D, he's not entirely convinced about a full switch to electric vehicles. There are things he loves about electric cars, like how quiet they are. He even compares the silence to something magical or from a futuristic show like Star Trek. He enjoys being able to leave his quiet countryside home early in the morning without making any noise, not even enough to wake up a worm. But even with the peace and quiet, he thinks battery technology still has a long way to go before it can live up to the big goals set by the industry. And while Tesla has a pretty good charging network, he mentions there still aren't enough places to charge these cars. The team from Top Gear hasn't had the best experiences with electric cars. For example, Richard Hammond almost lost his life in a crash while driving an electric Rimac car. James May, who often jokes about being a bit old-fashioned, and Jeremy Clarkson, who has had his fair share of disagreements with environmentalists, both add more layers to their complicated views on electric vehicles. But that's not all. Elon Musk, who's known for being quick to take legal action against critics, seems to understand the humor in Top Gear's content. Even though Musk appreciates the entertainment they provide, he's still careful about any negative press, especially during the early days of growing a company that's trying to change the car industry. What do you think about the future of electric cars in light of these incidents? Is the risk worth the reward? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.